Hey, welcome everyone. Dan here on with Chief Experts Academy on the Designer Show with John Schrader. John, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Cool. All right, people will be logging in here, and we're going to talk a little Chief Architect software today, which will be kind of fun. New release. We got new candy in the candy store, so we'll dig into some of that here in just a little bit. We won't be able to get to all. We won't get through all the candy, but we'll just talk about some of the best things that I've seen. And as time goes on, we'll dig into more. So we'll get people a few seconds or a few minutes to log on, John. And you were just saying that you're looking to be pretty busy next week. You got a lot of stuff going on.
Yep, got quite a few plans to work on, and some old clients that are starting to come back from pre-COVID times. So
construction type jobs or just plans?
No plans. And
just
then I
plans.
have a couple of old construction clients too that we're going to do a couple of things for the summer. But
cool. Well, people are still busy out there, crazy as it can be. Prices are still crazy as they ever were. I mean, it's crazy. I don't get it, but we'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
So in the meantime, we've got a piece of software here that can help us be more productive in what we do to design plans for people. So let's dig into that. But before I do that, let's just talk quickly about Chief Experts Academy. All right. And especially the ProAcademy that I have over at Chief Experts. And I'm really excited about where that's going to be going here. I'm going to be adding a community aspect to the ProAcademy where we'll be able to have a private group that we can work with each other. We'll be able to do uploads, downloads, videos, exchange ideas, exchange content. I'm really excited about it. So I'm working on getting that set up right now. So for those that are in the ProAcademy, you've got some cool things to look forward to. Distraction-free fun with Chief Architect in the design world, I guess you'd call that. Anyway, so stay tuned, and I'll bring you guys up to speed on that. So, and if you're interested in getting the ProAcademy, the price is $297 a year right now, and that'll, for those that are in the academy, it'll stay that price. But when it goes live here in about 3 to 4 weeks, the price will change. So, just an FYI, and by change, I mean it's not going to go down. Anyway, okay. And that's part of this whole thing about bringing this community to the ProAcademy. Something I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. So I'm really excited about this. This is going to be a game changer for what we're doing here with Chief Architect. Anyway, with that being said, we got it looks like a good group of people have logged into the show here. And we're going to talk about X13 new features. John, you're saying you haven't even looked at it yet.
No.
So you haven't downloaded it, you haven't played with it, you haven't read the updates on it. No. So you're as a newbie as newbie comes.
I will have lots of questions.
So you've been standing at the candy store door for a while, afraid to go in, huh?
Well, no, I'm not afraid. I just haven't done it.
I mean, afraid because you're so damn busy that you didn't have time to go mess with it. But and you weren't on the beta program, so I've been using it for about 6 months now, and with great success on quite a few projects actually. So it's really been a pleasure to work with, and I've only been really using a fraction of the new things that are in there. So you'll notice in the ProAcademy, if you're watching this live from Chief Experts Academy live streaming page, you'll notice a link on there that'll take you to the Chief Architect X13 What's New. So if you aren't there, you can type this in, chiefarchitect.com, what's new, and that will take you to this page. You can also just search for that too, Chief Architect X13 new features. That'll bring you here as well. I will say, I'll start out by giving you guys a little information that Chief Architect is doing an absolutely phenomenal job of bringing better, the best software ever. Some of these features that they've added, I've been waiting for a long time. It's really cool. And they keep adding some really amazing features that make the software better than ever. And they're doing an amazing job of teaching people how to use the software. So, I mean, we do a lot of training, John. We were just talking about that, how You know, what we teach is a little bit different than what Chief teaches. You know, we teach more about systems and ways to do it and shortcuts and all that kind of stuff. But Chief's doing a great job of teaching people how to use the software. So when you come to this page, you can just scroll down and you can click on this link right here called New Features Summary, and that will give you, oh, I'm sorry, New Features PDF. That's the list that we'll be looking at today, but there's also another link here with some of the summary. So if you're newer to the software, some of these things might not seem so relevant. If you've been using the software for a while, you'll get why this is so cool and so exciting. So it's really something worth looking at. And what are they doing here? Sale. Chief upgrade from version 11. Oh, from version 11. Yeah, see that you don't save any money by skipping a release anymore. So, I mean, it's the SSA is $545 a year, and if you skip a release, if you skip a year of buying it, they're basically doubling the price for when you go from 11 to 13. So if you haven't renewed your SSA, you should do that right away before X13 goes full release. Right now, it's in public beta. So if you're a current member of Chief Architect, if you're currently using the Chief Architect software and have a current software and support agreement, you'll have access to the X13 in your digital locker. Okay, so just log into your Chief Architect account. It should be there. If it's not, just call Chief and they'll get it in there. So this page is really a nice page. It talks about it shows some of the new features. They've got some really nice videos on here. They've, you know, kind of will steer you in some of the right directions on some of the things that are new. And, you know, we'll refer to some of these things. They've done such a wonderful job of laying out some of these things. And I got, you know, they're just killing it as far as teaching it, the things that they're doing within the software itself. So it's really, pay attention to what they're doing and you'll learn a ton. We'll keep bringing you good stuff too. But pay attention to what they're doing. So presentation features, they've got some, you know, new things you can do on elevations, project management features. So they are really listening to the users out there and they're doing a nice job. All right, so you can do that. Now, another thing I want you to be aware of, here's some of the system requirements. I'll talk about that just for a brief second here. In X13, you're gonna need some new hardware. All right, if you haven't upgraded your computer to the newest video card.
When you say that, Dan, are you saying that you'll need new hardware to use all the features, or you'll need new hardware?
You'll need new hardware to use some of the new features. The software will perform the same as X12 in previous versions on your existing system. If you want to take advantage of the new rendering engine that they put in, you'll need some new hardware. So the reason they put in a new rendering engine is because Apple is discontinuing their OpenGL software, I think it is, in Windows kind of followed suit, or I don't know I don't know the exact terminology for all of this, but Windows has solved the graphics card issue. Apple will not have that for another year. So you'll be looking, if you're on the Apple software, you won't be able to use the new rendering features in Chief Architect till Apple comes out with their new ICE software. It's called ICE. They don't even know much about it. I've just talked to the guys at Chief a little bit about it, and it's coming. So the trouble with that is right now, just an FYI, if you're not going to buy a brand new computer, you're going to be out of luck for a while. I don't even have the newest software. I can't find, or the hardware. I can't find it. So what you're looking for is an RTX 3080, 3070, or 3090. 3080 is kind of the recommended. 3090 is even better, but it's going to cost a bunch more. So RTX 38 video card is what you're looking for by NVIDIA. And everywhere I go, you're going to see that out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. And if you do happen to see one that someone's selling, they're going to be, you know, milking you for 2 to 3 times the price. So pay attention to that. Hopefully if you're watching this somewhere down the road, maybe the RTX series will be up to date, or they'll have something new and you'll be able to get it. So I have a laptop that's got RTX 2070 and it works pretty well. I mean, it's slow. It's a lot slower. You know, it takes a lot longer to do the rendering, but it works pretty well. It's the old it's the ray trace rendering in Chief, the real-time ray trace. What used to take 4 hours in Chief to do a nice rendering, even on my laptop, I can now do in about 10 minutes. With the RTX 3080, it might be 3 seconds. So that's kind of the difference of how the rendering will work. But even without that, Steve, the rendering's gotten a lot better and it still works just fine. All right, so that's a little bit about the hardware that you need to pay attention to. Chief's got some really good articles in their blog about that. The other thing I'll point out about Chief Architect, if you haven't been to their website, chiefarchitect.com, and you go to the user center and you go to training videos. All right. So this is a really great place to learn about some of these new features as well. So again, they're just doing a great job with it. So when you go to their website, go down the training videos and scroll all the way to the bottom is where they post their weekly shows that they're doing. And they're doing a great job there. But there's also, what's going on there, John? You got some background noise there? There you go. Thank you. But there's a lot of great software, a lot of great videos here that you can watch. So again, it seems like they've been doing this for a while, but especially since COVID hit, it's like they all hunkered down and just started producing a lot of great things. So they got a great team working on all this stuff. So I know there's a lot of people putting this kind of stuff together over at Chief Architect. So kudos to them for doing a great job of helping you guys learn how to use the software better. All right. With that in mind, John, we getting any questions here? We got
comments there and stuff.
Yeah, Jerry wants to know about pole barns, material estimatings, material per, yep. All right, cool. So if you guys have questions, put them in there and we'll try to get to those. So what I've just done is I've taken a Word doc and I want to run through some things. We don't have much time here. So let me run through some of the things that, John, I was telling you that a lot of these things are the kinds of things that as I'm using the software and I get to a point, it's like, damn, I wish Chief would do this or fix this or give us this option. They've done a lot of that in X13. So I would give X13 a really high mark for some of the new features that they put in. So let's just kind of run through some of those. Let me get into the software here and just talk about some of those features. So let me just quickly go down here. So first of all, project browser I'm only going to talk about the ones I've highlighted, okay? Because again, we just don't have time. We could spend hours and hours going through all of these new things, exploring what they do. Autosave untitled projects. That's kind of goes without explanation. Have you ever worked on a project for a while and your computer crashes or the power went out or something like that, and you come back and it's not there? I've had that happen a couple of times over the years. I've had clients that have said, yeah, they had a project open all day and they hadn't saved it yet. So they lost a whole day's worth of work. So Chief will now auto save your untitled projects. Hallelujah. All right. Navigation alt mode. That's just a real simple thing that when you're in a 3D view and you know how you rotate your mouse, if you use your right mouse button, you see how it changes the rotation up and down. So you're just kind of getting more rotation options with that fairly simple thing. But again, it's just a nicer way to get around your 3D model. Fill the screen to the selected objects. I didn't even realize that this would be a good feature until I was just exploring some of these things. So when I'm working on something in Chief, so let's say I want to select the kitchen cabinets there. So I click on, I go in here and I click on actually let's do a light. So actually that's not what I want to do. You have to bear with me as I prepare for this. I spent about 3 hours before this going through all this stuff. I probably forgot half the stuff I was exploring when I got in there. So when you click on something like a cabinet or a group of cabinets, so let's say I've selected these cabinets right here. There's a new zoom feature right here that allows you to zoom into your selection. All right, so kind of a handy thing. So when I want to zoom just on the things I've selected, bam, it takes me right there. So just a little bit less scrolling in and out when you select things. So if you have a big project and you want to work on a room, click on that room and hit the zoom to that area, zoom to that selection, and you'll be right there.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good one. All right. The Polyline solid defaults. How many times have you gone into an elevation, John, and drawn a polyline to create a, fill in a wall or something like that? And what do you get every single time when you do that?
Concrete
slab.
Yep.
Well, now you can double click on the Polyline tool, this tool and this tool as well, the slab, and you can specify how thick you want it to be, where it is from the finished floor, how thick, and what kind of materials are on that thing, line style, all those different things. So if you're working on a bunch of things, maybe you're working on a bunch of terrain or something like that, change your defaults while you're doing that, and you'll be able to continue that. So what I might do is open up this box and say, I want my fill style to always be solid black, and I want my, whatever it is. Oh, that's a slab. So once you've set one the way you like it, click the little wrench icon down here, and that will make it the new default in your plan. So the next time you go draw one, that's what you'll be drawing. So
I've had that forever.
I know. So if I click that and then I draw another box, I guess I didn't do the fill style. Let me try that again. So if I go in here, I thought I changed fill style. I must have changed the line style. So again, I'll set that as my default. So the next time I go draw one of those, it should be a solid filled black box. Bam. So that's kind of a nice feature. I like that a lot. Not a big deal, but it's a little big deal, like a lot of these things are. These little things add up. Multi-select and edit rooms. How many times have you gone into a room, John, and highlighted a room and said, God, I wish I could change the ceiling height in a whole bunch of rooms by just selecting them or changing some of the materials or something like that. So now you can group select rooms. And I could then open the dialog for those rooms, and you'll be able to edit more things. Ceiling height, floor height, see if we can, materials, the moldings. So we could never do that before. So it's my understanding this was a pretty big deal for them to do this, to make this work, right? So kudos to them, they got it to work. And so it looks like just about, okay, we can do wall coverings. We can change the fill styles for those rooms, materials. We can't change the component. Oh, we can change the schedules to what that room schedule is going to be. And so there are room names. You can change the room names. So if you want to rename a whole bunch of rooms all at once, you could do that too. So there you go. So that's kind of a nice feature. I like that. So group selecting of those kinds of things. And let's see. We got Michelle asked, just to clarify, I have an NVIDIA Quadro RTX 3000. That's not good enough. It should work okay, Michelle, the RTX 3000, but it's not going to be the speed of an RTX 3080. I didn't know they made an RTX 3000. That must have been an earlier release. My best thing, all I could say is get X13, bring up some renders and see what happens. I'm not going to cover rendering, but what you would do, I'll just show you real quick to test that, is to bring up a 3D view, go to the rendering dropdown, the different types of cameras, and check physically based. I believe it's this one, and you're going to be looking for. I don't think it'll show up on my screen because I don't have that card here. Shoot, I don't remember where it was because I wasn't going to show that today. You'll see it in the defaults. You'll see a thing it'll be here. It's probably not on mine because I don't have that video card on my computer. That I can't run that kind of option. So it'll be an option here that you'll be able to show that. So if you watch some of the chief videos, they'll show you how that works, and I think they'll be able to help you a little bit more than I can, because again, I haven't been able to do any of that on my computer, and I don't do a lot of drawing on my laptop. All right, next item that I've got on my list was match properties on walls. Use the select same load tool to quickly. Okay, so if you've drawn some walls in your plan, and so let's say I've gone in and I've changed a wall type here. Let's go change this wall type to something else. So I'll go to my wall types, and I'm going to change that to interior 6, right? It's not really what I wanted. So what I could do now is I could take my wall type. I could click on the wall types here, or the match properties tool, this little icon right here, and I could click on that wall, and I could go into my menu here, and I could say wall type would be this one right here. It's the Fire 6, which that's not really what I would do. And now I could click on this icon. This is your little paste icon now with this wall type. So I could click that, and then I could go change other walls to the 6-inch wall just by clicking on them, changing them out. So that's really a handy little feature.
That's pretty huge for me because I've always wanted that to be able to do it with walls, but it wouldn't before.
I mean, you could do the same thing by group selecting a bunch of walls,
right,
and then just open the dialog and change them. But if you're in your plan and you go, oh shoot, I need those walls to be that wall. And the thing I don't like about Chief is when you click on a wall, this is one thing I wish they'd do. I wish they'd put the name of the wall on the toolbar down here instead of me having to open the wall to look at what kind it is, what it's called. But this select same wall type will make it easier just to put that somewhere else instead of having to look up the name. Anyway, so that's a new one. I like that one a lot. Let's see, match properties, control living area label display. That's more of a, it's not a big deal, but when you want to show the living area on your plan, people will go into the layers and they'll say, well, where's the living area here? Okay, so if I search for living in my list here, there's no listing for living area. So it's one of those things Chief puts in your plan automatically, living area. And you control that by going into this icon right here, the select objects icon, or you could go to your defaults and go to plan. So this is the same thing. This is the same as double clicking on that. Okay, so you can get there either way. So when I go here at the bottom here, show living area label on or off. And so that's how you control the living area label. A lot of people just move it to the side or they put a whiteout box over it. That's actually how you shut it off.
What did they change about it?
Huh?
What did they change about it? Because you could do that before.
I think they added, what they changed is they added this into the defaults area. Okay. So I don't think a lot of people realized you could actually click on that icon. Yeah. So, but I think a lot of people, I think that's probably a tech support that they probably got that one a lot. It's like, how do I turn that off? Because no one could find it before. If you didn't know you could click on that icon, you had nowhere else to go to find it. Now you've got it in your defaults. Not a big deal. And while we're on the topic here, if you ever want to find out what the square footage area of that living, where you've got the living area and you got a number there and you want to know, well, where are they getting that number from? This is not new. This is the same, but you would click on this. You'd highlight the outside of your plan and click on this icon right here. Okay. And that will give you it'll put a box over your plan of where it's getting that living area square foot number. So when I open the dialog for that box, it's going to be right here. Here's the area. And this is the same amount. That's what would be displayed in that living area amount. It would probably say 2451 square feet because it would round it up. Anyway, just a FYI for you about that. All right. Refine search in library browser. How many times have you looked for a kitchen sink and couldn't find one because you got a list of 5,000 items if you have a lot of library items loaded? So now what we could do is we can use the and, or not, and we can use the parentheses to refine your search. So when I'm clicking, if I want to go search for something, and I really haven't even gotten into this at all. So when I open my library of symbols and I type in here kitchen sink, let's see how this works. So I type that in just the way I've always done it in the past. And it's going to search through it. Oh, I got to put a space in there. So now it's going to search in everything that finds kitchen and sink. But now if I put a parenthesis around that, it'll narrow it down to, now the item has to have in its label kitchen sink somewhere in the data's description of the object. So now I'm getting a lot less items on my list here. And if I go, I think it was and.
Stainless steel.
Yeah, let's try that. And kitchen, nothing. Okay. So again, like I said, I'm going to start, I want to start researching how this works. Because it's going to work a lot like Google search, like you search on for websites. You can do a lot of these same things. You can narrow down your search. SS.
But you still have to spell everything perfectly.
You do, yes.
Yeah.
So here it found out anything with the word kitchen and SS for stainless steel. So now I'm getting stoves and all that kind of stuff. So we'll have to work on that. But you can see that Chief has done a lot of work making it easier for her to find things in the libraries. There's over, I think at last count I had 420 libraries loaded up in my system. I need to go download. I think we got another 10 or so that I haven't downloaded yet. So there's a lot of libraries. There's well over 100,000 plus items to search through when you're searching for things in Chief, and that's only going to grow and grow and grow. So we have to be able to learn how to find things in our library a lot better. So we'll keep working on that. All right. Store text in the library browser. I really love this one. This is so nice. So when you're in your plan and you've got some text, and you'll use that again and again. It used to be you could do that by blocking it up. So you group select it by holding your shift key down, and then you make a block out of it. And then you could put it in the library. Now you just click on the text and add it to the library. And now it's just in the library as text. And what else you can do is you can click on the word that you put here. So I'll just say, here's some new text. You can click on this over here and right click on it, and you can open the object from the library without having to put it in your plan. So if you need to make a modification to this, so here's a new item. Okay, so I just added that. So I've added it I've changed the text while it's in the library. I didn't have to put it back in the plan. Anytime you want it back in your plan, click and paste in your plan, and you got a text box, you can edit again. That's really cool. All right, that is a nice feature that, we don't have to put it in our plan and unblock it and do all this other baloney to it. It's just in the library as text, out of the library as text. Nice feature. I like that one a lot. Center CAD and elevation views. Okay, this is I'm just finding some things out here that just came to my attention. Let me show you what those are, because I could be mistaken about this, but I don't think I am. So when I bring up an elevation of this building, and I want to, I can now draw CAD on here, and I now have all of the same CAD tools I have in my plan. I have the trim and extend. So if I wanted to trim or extend a line, I've got my, I didn't even realize I couldn't do this before in an elevation view, but apparently we never used to have any of these tools in our elevation view. It shows you how much I've just gotten used to not doing that kind of stuff in elevation. But the other thing that I've noticed is if I want to draw something here, look, I got a snapping now. Now, I don't know if this is new or not. Maybe I was just missing it, but
there was some snapping that you could do.
Yeah, so it seemed to be like there was more. Sure, there's an endpoint there. It's still seems to be missing some, but it seems to be better. So I do know that we'll be able to do more snapping on cabinet elevations. So that seems to be better. What I would always tell people to do when you're working on something, like you want to draw something on this wall, and you want to snap to the fascia or the soffit or the cut through the object, cut through the roof plane. So you're exposing the edges of an object. So when I turn the color off here, so now I've got snapping everywhere, just like any other CAD object. Because kind of what Chief was really doing there, is my understanding, is it's actually putting a CAD line over the surface of those edges, those exposed edges. But it doesn't do that to the full elevation views, although it looks like it's doing more of it now. So anyway, it seems to be better. Not totally perfect yet, but it's better, which is better. I'll take better all day long.
There's a question about the text, putting it in the library. Can you do that with rich text too?
Yeah, any of the text.
Okay.
Let me go here and try that real quick. So rich text. So we'll type some text here and we'll click OK and we'll click on it and hit add to library. Bam, there it is.
And you can change that in the library too.
So I could go in here and I could open that object and I could change the font, the color, the size, all the aspects.
That'll be handy for making some of those schedules that people like to have.
Their own schedules? Yeah. Now, I don't know about spreadsheet kind of things. If it'll, well, you know, the way that you could do, like here, if I go into this text and I add another line and add some more lines, you could go to attributes and display the border and display it as a grid. So you could make it look like that. And if you put a tab after each of these items, you'd have another grid. But now we can add that to the library just like that too. But it's still just a text item with the grid turned on.
Right.
So it's probably no different than if I threw a schedule in. If I went to the schedules up here and let's go grab a door schedule and I pop that in my plan and I convert it to text by clicking this icon right here. Schedule to text. Okay. And now I'd be able to add that to my library like that. Now if we create,
that change as you change things or not?
No, that's not part of the plan anymore. It's just it's just text. It's not linked at all. And I don't think we could add, oops. I don't think we can add just a plain schedule to the library. No. We don't have any options.
Can you put a title above it and block it with a piece of text and then put it in there?
Yeah. Yeah, you can still group items together, block them together, that kind of thing.
A schedule. Can you block a schedule and some text together and put that in the library?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
okay. No, I misunderstood you. I don't think so. Let's find out. Because the schedule is going to be a live item. And okay, so there's some text. I'll group them together. No, actually block it. And if I select the block, add the library, it got the text, but not the schedule.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah.
Can notes be added to the library?
What?
Notes, can they be added to the library?
I doubt it. Let's find out.
You'd have to.
See. Let's go add a note schedule. All right, schedules, note schedule, click here. Let's go add some notes. I must have a note schedule here in one of these views. Let me go to it. Let me go kitchen and bath. Yeah, here I've got a kitchen and bath note schedule right there. Let me go add a note. Okay. Okay. And click on that, block it. No. Oh, let's see. What does it do? It added the schedule, but not the notes that are part of it. But it'll put those notes back in when I put it here. So kind of, I guess we could experiment with that one a little bit. It'd be nice if we could set up a bunch of different.
How about the individual note? Like the number, what if you save that to the library, what would happen with that?
Oh, no, I don't think I typed any text. No, I did type some text. Because we don't have a number there. I'm not sure. It did. It added the note itself, but not the.
Bring that back in. Does it put the?
So it did bring it back in. So yeah, maybe it might be something worth looking at if that's something that people do. I could see this adding text to the library thing being a big deal for like the layout when you want to do all sorts of different call outs and things like that on your elevations and all this kind of stuff.
So, MM2's comment there at the end. It's fun seeing all you kids.
Told you the candy store, Mike. All this new toy. Yeah. This is kind of like watching my kids on their gaming stuff. Because they, why won't the note go off? Yeah, I mean, they'll watch YouTube videos on how to run their games better, and it's just, yeah, so this is our form of gaming. Edit text and library, center CAD and elevation, copy and center objects. I don't remember that one. Trim and extend CAD and elevation view, talked about that a little bit. Slab defaults, we talked about that. Convert planes to polylines. This is really a big deal for me, even, a big little deal. It's not a super deal, but let me show you what that means. So have you ever had a plan where you're doing a roof layout, okay? And you want to show all of your roof lines in one plan, but you need to keep some of your roof planes on the first floor because there's skylights in them. But if you move the roof planes up to the second floor, the skylights won't show up in the interior anymore. So those kinds of deals. All right, so what we could do now with Chief is, so let's say that I want to put, this is not a two-story house, but let's just pretend for a minute that I want to put this part of, I need this part of the roof to be on a different floor, but I want to show all my roof lines in one plan. So what I could do is I could select some of these roof planes and I could copy them to a different floor. So I could hit my copy button and I could go up to another floor or down to a floor and paste and hold position. And then I could click this button right here, which we couldn't do before the roofs, and just change them to CAD lines. All right. So now I've got, so yeah, I want to show those. So now I've got, I don't have roof planes anymore. I copied and pasted my roof planes to the second level. So this way I could put all of my roof planes on one plan and without having to move some of the 3D roof planes that I need to be on a different floor. That makes sense, John? You follow me on that?
It does. So basically what they've done is made it so that we could
we can convert a roof to 2D CAD.
To CAD. Instead of changing the whole plan to CAD, you could just do a little bit.
Correct. Yeah. So what I would do in the past sometimes is I would take these roof planes and I would copy them into a separate plan, paste, hold position, copy, and then I would hit convert to CAD, and then I would copy and paste them back into my plan where I needed them. So now I've just skipped all those extra steps. So that's kind of a nice deal. Not a big deal, but it's one of those little things that someone picked up on that, and oh yeah, that's an easy thing to add. We could do that.
And you can do that from elevations for walls and stuff like that too.
No, I don't think so. I think it was just roofs. There's roofs and one other thing that was part of that. So I can't see. I don't have any of that. I don't have that ability here. Here I could probably. Nope, can't do it. Can't do it here. Huh?
X13.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, but just on the floor plan, we can do it. I'm just trying to think any other examples where that might be handy. I mean, because we've always been able to take 3D objects and convert them back to 2D objects and then convert them to something else. Okay. I don't think I could take a roof, convert it to a roof, and then convert it back to a roof. I don't think that's part of this whole deal. No. So, no, I don't see it anywhere on here. So anyway, but that's the use for something like that. A silly thing, but kind of simple. 3D shape editing. You guys have heard of Revit, not Revit, but SketchUp. All right, where you could take a 3D shape and you can push and pull and make all these different changes to it. Let me open up a new plan and I'll show you this real quick. So if I draw a box here and it's going to be a 3D shape, we could do some of this in X12, but they've added a lot more functionality here in this version. So when I click this, I can make it thicker. I can click on, see how you click, when you click, you get the different faces. So when you get the different faces highlighting, you can edit those faces. So if I click here, I could hit, so you get all these CAD tools that you didn't have before. The fillet tool, for example, the chamfer tool, and some other tools will show up that weren't there before. So now what I could do is I could put a break here and I could step this down. Okay, I could go here and I could put, if I wanted to, I could throw some breaks in here. Oops. I could put a break here and a break here and I could pull that out. Right, so I can start doing those kinds of things. So you ever done a front porch where you have the, it comes out and around like that, and then If I wanted to, I could even put a break here and, pull that out like a step almost. So you could do that all in one piece now, instead of a whole bunch of little pieces. You could also go in here and do things like, because you have the fillet tool available. So let's say I want to go do a nice little rounded corner here. So I could do that here. So just a lot more flexibility in creating these shapes out of CAD boxes. And again, we had some of that before, but nothing like this.
Put that rounded corner on that step there.
It won't work there. Once I change a face, I wasn't able to get that to work. Let's see if I take it back. So it did the whole thing. So let's see if
just the top layer.
See if I could do a smaller one. Let's go with 2 inches. So if I highlight this, let's try like this. Let's put that fillet right there. Oh, look at that. It did work.
Cool.
It's a kind of a goofy step, but you get the idea. And that sure seems like a lot more than a 2-inch radius. So I'd have to go look at that. But so again, those abilities gotten a lot better. I've created some projects in the past where I could have used some of this stuff so badly. And if I would have known Revit, I would have just done it in Revit, but I didn't know Revit at the time. Of course, I still don't know Revit. I don't use Revit. All right, so that's a new one I like.
That's easier than SketchUp.
Maybe. I mean, SketchUp has got a lot of tools, and you can do all this 3D measuring stuff. I don't see any of that in here yet. So where I could add dimensions to those views and things like that, you could do all of that in SketchUp, but you can't here. So if I go back into this view, so with SketchUp, I could click on the ruler icon and dimension these different elements. Can't do that here. And the other thing that they've added is the ability to, let's say I need to cut a hole in here, but only 6 inches deep. All right. Before I would have to make that into a solid. Okay. Chief has these tools that, see, where did that go? I don't see it here. There's a tool that you could convert this to a solid. What solid means is that it's going to always be this shape. You can only add and subtract from it. But here I could go in here and let's go draw another box on top of that item right here. So I'll just draw a box. Maybe I could have done this in the other view, but I'm just going to open it and make that box, 36 inches tall. And when I'm going to go back here, all right, where'd it go? What did I do to it? Hey, where'd it go?
Is it down inside the other one?
I don't know. Let's find out. So if I go delete a surface, oh yeah, there it is. I didn't make it 30. I moved it. I didn't make it 36 inches. So if I go up here now and so I just want to go into this a little bit. So I could click on the object I want to keep, click on the this tool right here, which is going to it's called subtraction. I'm going to subtract this box from that. So subtraction, and then I click on that box, and I'm going to say, no, don't retain the original. And now I've created an indentation in there like that. So you could do that. So, maybe you're doing a fireplace and you want to do some intricate brickwork or something. I mean, so it's just different applications where you'd use something like this. Maybe not a lot, but again, I'm liking that Chief is giving this flexibility in the software to be able to do those kinds of things. Group selected electrical items by type. That's a simple thing, but have you ever gone into a plan and tried to select all the outlets in a plan so you could put them on a different layer or change the size of them or, do something to them? Well, now with Chief, what I could do is say I want to select those, say I've got a bunch of recessed lights in my plan I want to select, and there's other electrical around there. I only want to select those. So let's click on one of those recessed cans. So anything else that's like that, when I click on the this marquee object here, and I click on this, now I'm going to hold my shift key down and draw a marquee over this, and the only thing I will get are those cans. Okay, there was one over the sink too. I didn't get the outlets. I didn't get anything else. Nice little feature. So sometimes when I'm doing an as-built, I want to group select some of the existing electrical, so I could put it on a different layer to turn it on and off. This would be a real nice tool to be able to do that. So John, I've become a true believer in this little icon down here. It took me a while.
Yeah.
But now I understand how it works, and it works well. So most of these other things, in the past, we could click on any of the electrical items and draw a marquee around it, and we get anything that's electrical. Now we can dial it down into certain items that are electrical. But in this works, if you do the doors, you get all the doors. If you do the windows, you get all the windows. So those kinds of things. All right. Any questions? It's a great. Yeah, Mike says he's got a free weekend to study this. All right. This video is perfectly timed. You're welcome. And again, go check out some of Chief's videos. And I always just speed them up, double time, or 1.75, and I can pretty much click, get everything that they're talking about. So if you ever put outlets in and you need to change some to GFI, so you have to go to the library, find a GFI outlet, put it back in the plan. All right. So one of those stupid little things. Now you just click on the outlet or outlets and come on, get to that outlet, would you? All right, click over here. So there's the outlet. You got a little icon down there. This will make it a GFI or plain. Thank you. So I can click on an outlet. I got a little icon down here now. Make it a GFI or make it a plain outlet. So you can go back and forth. Kind of like making a wall, a gable, or a hip. Same kind of a deal. They just made that option because that's something people do all the time. Yeah. You put outlets in and you got to change it to a GFI. So you got to go to the library, find a GFI outlet. So that'll save a bunch of time.
And it doesn't match the ones you've already put in there. And then
Yep. Rope light electrical connection. Again, that's pretty self-explanatory when you get into Chief and you've added the rope light that they've got here. So that's just a CAD line with lights on it. You never used to be able to hook that up to a switch. You'd have to use a CAD line. Now you can use the connect electrical to that particular item, and you'll have that in your plan. I don't know. Yeah, I did get it. There you go. So that's a silly little thing, but it makes a big deal. Makes a big difference. Because now I don't have to go draw a CAD line, put it on an electrical layer, stretch it over to that item, snap it into place. Now I can just do it like all the rest of the electrical in the plan. All right, let's keep moving down here. Search plan materials. This is one that's like, when I saw this, I go, "Ollie frickin' Luya." Okay. Because that's been bugging me forever. You know how when you're working on a plan and you go look for, you click on a material. So I click on a material here and I open the item and I go into, I need to replace it with something else. So I go to materials and I click on something. I go select a material. And then I got to scroll down the list till I find what it is I'm looking for. All right. Well, now I can just go up here and I can go wood. There's all my woods. Or I could go, color. Okay. We got a sort function now. That's a big deal. It's a little big deal. It would drive me nuts because, half the time the name would, they would name their materials red brick. Okay. So you wouldn't know that. So you'd come to the list looking for the brick. So you go to B's looking for bricks, but it'd be named red brick. Okay.
So anything you put in there now, if it did say red brick and you put in brick, it would bring up that.
It'll bring up the brick. Anything with the word brick in it.
Okay.
So it's a little search function, just like we have here when you're searching for a material from in the libraries. Now you can search from the plan itself. Yeah. It's a simple little thing, but it's a big deal. To me, excuse me, when I'm replacing those materials in a plan. All right, let's see here. What else do I got? Material eyedropper copy tool. How many times have you opened a plan and you click on the rainbow tool up here? Okay, this little bugger. And there's two things about this this tool here that what I want to talk about. So I click on that material, and I want to change it, but I need to make I want to keep this, but I want another one that goes a different angle. All right. So it used to be I could change the color here, I could change the size of it, but I couldn't make a copy of it. All right. So now I can add it to the library. So now I could make this, put it in my library. Okay. So now I put that material in the library. Now I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. So I rename it here. So now I'm defining how the material is going to be in my library. I'm not changing the material that's part of the plan right now. All right. So I'm going to change that. I'll just change the angle of the, of the strip. So let me go here and I'll change the angle here. Why they have those separate, different, I'll never know. All right. So I've just changed that and now it's put it in my library. All right. So the existing material is the same. Oh, no, it did change it. So I should have in my library. Yeah, so there's, okay, so there's the, so, okay, I did the wrong thing. You put the material in my library, then I should have gone over here. In my library, I can open the object and edit it from the library. Okay, so, and then I can put this back in my plan. So if I want to have this material from my library, so there's that one. And then let's say I copy that again. So let me go back into this. I'll make another copy. I showed you that a little bit wrong. All right, so now I'm going to add this to the library. So now here's the one in my, so now I should close this, go to my library, edit this one. Okay, so I'll change the name here. And now I can go here and click on this and open the object, make my changes to it, and then put it anywhere back in my plan. Okay, so I could go here and change the angle. And now I've changed the way the board's going. So I've got that material now. And now not only can I paste it back onto that surface, you now have this full complement of scoping tools down here. So if any material in my plan was using that, I could say, click the P here for entire plan, and it would change everything in my plan that was using that material before. Or in this case, it would be just a component, which would be that. I have to go look again. I don't remember what the spray can tool is with that. What does that one say? Create a copy. Oh, this is another way to create a copy of a material. To use that, and that'll make a copy of it within your plan. Ah, that's what it was. Okay. So that was another way to make a copy of the material. So there's two ways to make a copy of the material. So you go into the select material thing and hit make a copy. That's right, I haven't used that one before. That seems to be new, or I just discovered it. So now I've got two of those materials in the same plan, and now I could rotate this, and it's part of the same plan. It's not in my library. So this one will just keep it in your plan. The other one would add it to your library. So two ways to do it instead of none before. Because the way we had to do it before was to click on the material, go into the object. That's not the material, that's the material region. I'm sorry, we'd have to go into the material. We'd have to go into edit that material. And then we'd have to go make a copy of the material. And then we'd have to do all of these. So we'd have to go through all of these extra steps to make a copy of the material, and then go put it in, and then go put it on the item. And it was a real pain in the butt. So that saved it.
Taking out a half a dozen to a dozen steps.
It took out a bunch of steps, exactly. And that's that adjust material scoping. That's what I was showing you down there. A couple more things, and we're just about out of time. This goes fast when we do this kind of things. What do we got here? Bill Murray says big deal to him as well. Yep, I agree. Mike, I like the different style sets for kitchens. Does this work for exterior finishes? Like a brick option left siding. You're talking about the, So Mike, you talk style palettes. I don't think they've added anything for exteriors for style palettes. If I click on the outside of a plan, I haven't, oh, maybe. So here we've got the style palette icon. So I've clicked on the outside of the plan, and I'll click the style palette and see what we come up with. So we've got add an object. So we're able to add the walls. I don't know if we were able to add that before. I don't remember. So it doesn't look like we can do a ton with that. Now I could click on that and add more things to it probably, which is kind of nice, maybe. I don't know. We'd have to play with that one, Mike. Not sure. Don't have the paint copy option. You add it to the toolbar. Again, this is an X13 thing. Make sure, and I've switched to the toolbar configuration called extended tool configuration. My toolbar hasn't crashed once yet. The way I got to that item was to go into a 3D view where you can see a material. Select the material eyedropper, click on a material. There's that copy button right there. Make a copy of the material within the plan that you're working on. Or use the rainbow tool, click on the material, add this material to your library, where you can then start keeping in different materials you use for your plans, and then you can go edit them in the library as well. Two nice ways to create materials. All right, got time for a couple more, maybe. What else do I got? Cut framing along angles. Again, a silly little thing, but in the past when we would do framing in our plans and we would create a bunch of framing items. Actually, let me go undo that. Go to my framing plan. You see the text size has changed. They changed the way their fonts look in the program too. All right, so I'm going to add some joists here. I'm going to copy those. Do a multiple copy, offset them, make a copy. It used to be when I would draw a line and I would trim those off, the ends of the boards would trim square. Okay, so when I do that, now they trim at an angle. Now I could have drawn a joist over there and it would have trimmed them that way. Now I can just use a line. So that's kind of an, again, silly little thing, but now you don't have to think about it.
It just occurred to me, you know how we draw tiles sometimes, but using a polyline solid? We can do that with framing now, if you wanted to draw a whole bunch of them and then trim it to a different.
I'm going to bet that, no, we can't. How about, because that's a different kind of a box. So let's go.
Same box, you just have to resize it and then do multiple copies.
Well, framing is a different kind of a box than all the other kinds of boxes in Chief.
So
all right. So if I went to, I could try something here where we might go to a, let's go to a floor material region. That's because there's kind of a box too. So if I made a bunch of those, I'm not going to adjust the sizing at all. And I tried to trim those at an angle. Okay, can I do it? I doubt it. See, I got the trim tool and I can swipe over the edges here. Doesn't do it.
So
that would have been cool.
Yeah, so close. But yeah, that's kind of frustrating when you do all this tile work and then you got to trim it down. And
yeah, you got to adjust each one of these.
Fix all the poly lines.
So, yeah, so now I got to make that the same angle and pull it onto it and then do the same thing. Yeah, exactly. So the trim and extend does not seem to work with those kinds of items. So if I were to go here and I were to try to extend that out to this line, actually I click on the line, try to extend that out to the line. Yeah, nothing happens. So that would have been cool.
That was close.
We keep wishing. 14. Physically based rendering, we talked about that a little bit. I did a couple of quick renders with it on my laptop. This took about 10 minutes. I did, I put some can lights in and some a strip light, and I didn't do anything else. I just brought up a view. I didn't adjust anything else. No lighting, no materials. This is just what I had created in X12, and it looks nice. Once I can figure out how to adjust the lighting, it's going to look a lot better. And when I compare this one, which took a few minutes, to one, I just let my laptop sit for 4 hours. No difference. So in just a few minutes, it did a nice job. It got to me to where it was really good looking views. So I'm looking forward to working with that some more. We're about out of time. We are out of time. There's a ton of dimensioning things that they've added. So this is really worth paying attention to, because now we can dimension the face of cabinets and cabinet doors when you're in your elevation. So those of you that do kitchen elevations, you're going to love that. We've got automatic dimension features for everything now. So when we go into our dimension defaults and we look at one of our default dimension types, look at all the options we have now. It used to be we had general, locate, and primary, and a few of these other ones. Now we can set all of our automatic dimensions. We can set, first of all, we can set our locate items for each individual kind of item. So how do we want to locate center lines, interiors? I'm going to take a little time to play with this. This is pretty cool. But the automatic dimensions, it used to be we had one automatic dimensions default. So it was that or nothing. And then you had to put all those dimensions on different layers. Now we can do automatic dimensions for our floor plan. We can do automatic dimensions for our framing. We do automatic for room types, kitchen types. So we got total flexibility with how we do all of our automatic dimensions. Big deal. That's going to be a real big game changer for dimensioning things. Dimensions, thresholds, rotating dimensions, angle dimensions, arrow fill color by layer. Now there's a silly little thing. So when you would put a arrowhead on something and you'd have a layer set to red, and you'd have to then go and you put that on a layer, that the arrowhead would be a different color. So now you had to go in and change the arrowhead color separately. Now the arrowhead will fill based on the layer it's on. That's a nice little deal. Camera view setting, that's a kind of a deal. If I go back to the chief page here. So when you are doing elevations, see if they have an example here, and you have a vaulted ceiling or something like that, and you do an elevation, you don't have to do the full. Now you could do the wall elevation, and it will do the elevation to the shape of the ceiling or shape of the room without having to do a bunch of workarounds. So that's kind of a big deal. Anyway, I would recommend go to Chief's site, watch a lot of their tutorials. They've got a ton of them. It's under User Center, training videos. And that'll keep you busy. If you don't have anything else going on, just like Mike this weekend, that'll be the place to go.
Yeah, can you address that one a little bit?
What items not to migrate to X13? I don't know. To be perfectly honest, I haven't found anything that I'm too concerned about. I mean, I have a big plan I've been working on for years. And actually my house, which I actually drew in X2, not X2, version 2. And I just keep bringing it forward into Chief every year, and it works beautiful. I mean, it works the best it's ever worked. So if I were to go look at, let me go look at, let's see, this one right here. This is an 18,000 square foot house that I've been working on. It seemed like it did slow down a little bit on some of the 3D stuff. But you know, when I changed materials, things like that, I was just working on outdoor kitchen on this project. And, you know, it performs fine. It was getting a little slow on X12. I need to go clean out some pictures and blocks and PDFs that I've got in here. But, you know, as far as bringing up the 3D stuff, it worked just fine. You know, didn't bother much at all. So there's the model. It goes around fine. And it works.
And there shouldn't be any problem bringing in the layers from X12 or anything like that that you've got.
Couldn't understand you, John. It was kind of windy there.
The last question there, or the second to last.
Oh, should we migrate those?
X12 layers from X12.
Yeah, so far I'll be doing a new X13 template. If you've been using my template and you haven't made a ton of changes to it, you'll just be able to grab my new template. I've been really waiting on that till they got their final release out, because they did add some new things that would have messed me up. So now I'm ready to go on digging into that. That's going to take some time because I got to go figure out all those new dimensioning setups, and there's a bunch of things that I've got to work on. And we're going to start doing some of that over in the ProAcademy too. And we're going to dig into the metric. So we'll get that done.
In the meantime, your X12 template will work in it. You just won't take advantage of everything.
It'll work fine. Yeah, you might have to, I haven't noticed really much of anything because, when I do automatic dimensions, it still works the same as I did before. And I haven't seen any issues. So I wouldn't have any, go ahead and migrate and work with it and then start, if you see an adjustment to make your template, open your template and make that adjustment. You'll be good to go. All right. I'm in the middle of 2 projects that just upgraded to the X13 beta. Might be risky, makes life more exciting for sure. Have a great weekend. You won't have any trouble, Mike. I've seen 0 issue. And I've always been one to bring my projects into the beta, and I've never had problems. When you open your plan in X13, it will automatically make a copy of the plan into your archives folder for you. So if something did go wrong, don't worry, you'll never ruin the plan you were actually working on. So that's the only issue. So I'd say go for it. That's what I say. Anyway, hey, you guys, thanks for joining us. Am I looking to do? Maybe, Janet, maybe. Sounds like you're interested. John and I will talk, and we'll maybe put something together here. Maybe we do something local, John. Yeah. All right, you guys. Thanks for being here today. It was fun showing you some of these things, and I hope that was helpful. And go grab X13 and enjoy using it. So you guys have a good weekend. I'm going to go biking up to Cuyuna with my family here this weekend. So we're supposed to be in the mid, maybe upper 90s. That'll be interesting. So we'll be doing a little bit of early in the day biking.
There's some good swimming holes there, Dan.
That they do, but the temperature is only in the low 60s, something like that.
Extreme temperatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a good hardy Minnesotan, John, don't you know? So
okay.
Yeah.
Take a small towel so you can dip it in there and just wipe yourself down.
There you go. I like hot, so I'm in good shape. You guys, thanks. We'll see you next time. Dan and John with Chief Experts signing off. See you guys.
See ya.